In business, it's a crazy thought, but some of the things that look the most profitable, your top products, your biggest customers, they might actually be costing you a fortune. Today, we're diving into a really powerful accounting lens called activity-based costing that shows you where your real profits and your hidden losses are truly hiding. So, to really wrap our heads around this idea, let's start with something super relatable, a situation I guarantee you've been in. You're out with a friend, the bill comes, and you both decide, hey, let's just split it right down the middle. Sounds fair, right? Well, maybe not. Okay, so picture this. You order a simple $2 fudge. Your friend, though, they go all out. They get the $8 strawberry banana thing with all the works. The total bill is $10. You split it 50-50, so you both chip in $5. All of a sudden, you've overpaid by $3 for your dessert, and you've basically just subsidized your friend's fancy one. Well, this exact same unfairness happens inside huge companies, just on a much, much bigger scale. Right there, that simple act of averaging the cost, it completely distorted the picture. And for decades, this is pretty much how many businesses have calculated their costs, and it's led to some dangerously wrong conclusions about what's actually making them money. So the old school way of doing this, it's often called functional-based costing. It basically takes all those big shared costs, what accountants call overhead, and just smears them across everything. It's exactly like spreading peanut butter. Every single product gets a nice, even layer of cost, whether it's super simple and cheap to make or incredibly complex and expensive. So think of it this way. The old way, functional costing, it's kind of like looking at a blurry, low-res photo. It averages everything out based on really simple stuff, like labor hours. Activity-based costing, or ABC, well, that's like upgrading to a 4K high-resolution image. It doesn't just average things out, it precisely traces costs to the specific activities that each product actually uses. Okay, so where does this whole peanut butter method really fall apart? Well, it happens in two main situations. First, when a huge chunk of your costs aren't actually tied to how many things you make. Think machine setups or product design. And second, when you've got high product diversity. In other words, you're making both the simple chocolate fudge and the super complex strawberry banana rendezvous in the same building. And here's what that distortion actually looks like. That flat blue line, that's the old way. Every single product gets hit with the exact same average overhead cost. But the red line, that shows you what's really going on. Your simple high-volume products on the left are being massively overcosted, which hides how profitable they truly are. And at the same time, your complex, low-volume products on the right are being undercosted, making them look like big winners when they could actually be losing you a ton of money. All right, so how do we fix this mess? This is where activity-based costing comes in. It's a much smarter, way more precise way to see the truth, and it gives you the clarity you need to make way better decisions. Okay, the first core idea in ABC is the activity. And it's exactly what it sounds like, a specific action or a task. I mean, think about everything that has to happen to make something. Setting up a machine for a production run, processing a customer's order, moving parts from the warehouse to the assembly line. Each of those is its own separate activity. Now, to connect the cost to these activities, we need something called an activity driver. This is simply the thing that measures how much of an activity gets used up. So for the activity setting up a machine, the driver is just the number of setups. For processing orders, it's the number of orders. You see? It's a direct cause and effect link. And here's how it all plugs together. It's actually a pretty logical flow. See, at the top, you've got your resources and all their costs, things like labor and electricity. ABC first traces those costs down to specific activities, like setting up a machine. And then, using those activity drivers we just talked about, it assigns the cost of that activity to the final object, say a product or a customer, based on how much they actually used. No more peanut butter, no more averaging. Now, what's really cool is that this powerful logic, it doesn't stop with products. You can use the exact same system to figure out the true profitability of your customers, too. And this brings up a massive, crucial question, one that a lot of businesses, believe it or not, can't answer accurately with their old accounting systems. Are all of your customers actually profitable? Or are some of them, maybe even your biggest ones, quietly draining your resources? This right here is one of the most famous visuals to come out of an ABC analysis. It's called a whale curve, and it is eye-opening. On the left, you see how your most profitable customers just rocket your total profits way up, often past 100% of your final number.
But then, as you start adding in your less profitable customers, the curve starts to flatten out. And then you get the shocker. On the far right, your least profitable customers are actually losing you so much money that they drag your total profits all the way back down.
And look, this isn't just some academic theory. The source material points to this incredible real-world case of a semiconductor company. They used ABC, and they found out they were losing money on half of their customers. So what did they do? They focused on the profitable relationships. And get this, their total sales actually went down, but their profits tripled. I mean, come on, that is the power of getting a clear picture. Okay, so ABC gives you this incredible, high-def picture of your costs. But the next logical step isn't just to sit there and admire it, right? It's to start using that information to actively manage those costs and start cutting out the waste. And that's what leads us to activity-based management, or ABM. This is where you take the insights from ABC and you go on the offensive. You start managing the activities themselves to systematically drive down costs and make the whole business better, faster, and more profitable. The way ABM works is it starts by splitting everything you do into two big buckets. On one side, you've got value-added activities. These are the essential actions that actually improve the product or service, the stuff a customer is actually willing to pay for. On the other side, you have non-value-added activities. These are just wasteful, unnecessary actions that eat up time and money but don't add any real value for the customer. And the goal of ABM is dead simple. Get rid of them. So what does this waste actually look like in the real world? Well, it's often things like moving materials around when you don't need to, or just waiting for the next step in a process, or storing tons of extra inventory. Even something like final inspection is considered waste. I mean, think about it. The goal shouldn't be to catch mistakes, it should be to not make them in the first place. When you boil it all down, activity-based costing isn't just about spreadsheets and numbers. It's a totally new lens for seeing your business with perfect clarity. It shows you what truly creates value versus what's just driving up your costs. So let me leave you with this question. If you could see the true cost of everything you do, what would you change?